Until you realize the depth to which you've been lied to and manipulated into being overweight and unhealthy, I hate to break it to you, but you are never going to transform your body or your health.
The only way that you will sustainably get rid of your flabby belly and your love handles and your double chin is to realize that keeping you fat is big business. Big food companies are making billions of dollars a year, keeping you that way. Is this some sinister plot cooked up by an evil villain somewhere? Maybe. If believing that helps motivate you, then believe it. On the other hand, big food companies are simply in the business of selling more food every year, and the more of their highly processed food you buy, the more you eat, and the fatter you get. The big food companies that manufacture the addictive, nutritionally bankrupt food-like substances that fill the aisles of your grocery store have made billions of dollars, making you and your family fat and sick. These companies have hired brilliant scientists to chemically alter and enhance these food-like substances to hijack your biology so they can trick your brain and belly into remaining hungry, even after consuming thousands of the empty calories contained in these products. Before you get triggered and skip to the next video distraction, hear this. I promise, if you watch this till the end, you will be empowered with the knowledge you need to help yourself and your family to finally break free from the cycle of obesity and chronic disease that is absolutely endemic in our society. But first, we need to unravel the lies and tricks that have led us to the point where 73.1% of adults in the US are overweight or obese. First, we must understand that if you're obese, it's not the fault of your genes. We are all the descendants of the most robust, intelligent, resourceful, and healthiest human beings that ever graced this earth. Our ancestors would not have survived the long and treacherous journey out of Africa to populate and dominate every continent on this planet if they were fat, weak, or stupid. Humans with weak genes did not survive long enough to pass those genes on to the next generation. Anyone that tells you otherwise is either ignorant of this fundamental tenet of evolutionary biology or is lying to you. The problem is, our biology is not equipped to consume chips and pretzels and cookies and cereal and M&Ms. These products were not part of our evolutionary journey out of the African savanna and were nowhere to be found as our ancestors migrated into Europe, Asia, and the Americas. The frankenfoods sold by Kraft, Kellogg's, Frito-Lay, etc. have existed for less than 100 years, which is barely a blink in the eye of the history of our species. The interaction of highly processed foods born in big food company labs by some of the most brilliant scientists of our time have tricked your brain into thinking they are delicious and hijacked your biology so that you don't feel full. So you continue to eat their addictive, nutritionally bankrupt food-like substances until you've emptied the entire bag. They then spend nearly $14 billion per year advertising their poison as delicious and nutritious, with $2 billion specifically targeted towards advertising to our children that see over a dozen advertisements for ultra-processed food every day. You might find it interesting to know that Philip Morris, the health pioneers that brought you Marlboros and Virginia Slims, invested nearly $20 billion acquiring General Foods and Kraft Foods in the late 1980s. And R.J. Reynolds, the wellness innovators behind Camels, Newports, and Lucky Strikes, dropped $5 billion acquiring Nabisco in 1985. This chart shows the huge growth in the value of these companies that produce ultra-processed foods since the 80s, when many of them were acquired by the two largest tobacco companies in the world, Philip Morris and R.J. Reynolds, who, it's safe to say, know a thing or two about selling highly addictive and deadly products and making billions of dollars in the process. Now, maybe you're less suspicious of the motives of these companies than I am, but make no mistake, this is not conspiracy theory. These are facts. The very same companies that told you doctors recommend Camel cigarettes, that targeted children with cigarette ads, and later sold teenagers on vaping, also told you that you should have cereal for dinner, paid doctors to recommend highly processed foods for your babies, and told you that cereal is good for your heart. Are these companies evil? You can decide for yourself. The facts are undisputed that after some of the largest producers of ultra-processed foods were bought by the two biggest tobacco companies in the 80s, Americans have dramatically increased their consumption of ultra-processed foods and have simultaneously gotten fatter and sicker than any population of human beings that ever existed.
Real quick, if you're enjoying this video so far, please consider sharing it with someone you know who would also benefit from this message. It's word of mouth referrals like this that really help me spread the word and grow the channel. Truly appreciate your support.
Now that we know what we're up against, what do we do about it to keep ourselves and our families healthy and robust throughout our lives? First, create this image in your mind. Think of a con man that at first appears to be good-looking, charming, and seemingly well-intentioned. Now visualize the moment you realize he's actually a manipulative, pathological liar, charlatan, whose sole intent is to prey upon your trust and kindness to enrich himself at your expense. Once you realize this person is full of it, would you continue to buy their nonsense, or would you never look at this person the same way again? I made this video to open your eyes to the reality that, with rare exception, the people that manufacture the food packed in bags and boxes in the center of your supermarket are manipulative con men trying to take advantage of you. And they're not simply content with taking your money. These big food companies have invested billions of the dollars into pharmaceutical companies that profit from selling treatments for the same chronic diseases caused by the bullshit food they've sold us. What can we do to escape this? Simply eat the foods our ancestors consume. Meat, fish, eggs, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. It is nearly impossible for you to be fat if you focus on eating these foods. Our biology recognizes these foods, knows how to digest them. Perhaps most importantly, our bodies know how to signal to us when we've consumed enough of these foods to be full, so naturally we don't overeat them. 2 quick points on this. First, if you're used to consuming a bunch of highly processed garbage, it may take a few weeks for your body to adjust and recover from the years of digesting frankenfoods. And remember what it's like to eat real whole foods that provide all the necessary nutrients our bodies require to function at their peak. Similar to an addict going through withdrawal, your body may need an adjustment period, and it may take a few days to stop craving the poison you've been sold and consumed for decades. Keep your eyes on the prize. Remind yourself that you don't want to be fat and sick, that this temporary discomfort is part of the process and won't last forever. Second, in the long run, you don't have to be perfect with this. Once your body has readjusted to consuming real food, you can occasionally experiment with having an Oreo or two if you so desire. But don't ever forget that these treats are poison, deliberately designed to be addictive, and offer you nothing but some temporary mouth pleasure at the expense of your health. Tread carefully. Most of the people I've coached over the years find that by simply focusing on consuming the right foods that nourish their bodies 80 to 90% of the time, they don't need to spend much bandwidth thinking about the crap they shouldn't be eating. By focusing on doing the right thing the vast majority of the time, controlling the temptation to go to the dark side every now and then doesn't seem so difficult. Lastly, remind yourself when you go to the grocery store and see those aisles filled with ultra-processed foods that the people that manufactured these products don't give a damn about your health. They are your enemy. They know these foods make us sick, and they invest billions in the pharmaceutical companies that sell treatments for the very diseases their products cause. In 2020 alone, Nestle spent $2 billion acquiring Immune Therapeutics, a company specializing in treatments for food allergies, which have skyrocketed alongside the consumption of ultra-processed foods. In fact, food allergy prevalence among children has increased by 50% between 1997 and 2011, and again by 50% between 2007 and 2021. And an analysis of health insurance claims data found that the annual incidence of peanut allergy in 1-year-olds tripled between 2001 and 2017. Take a moment to reflect on the irony that many grocery stores also contain pharmacies. Now, look around at the shopping carts of those waiting in line at the pharmacy to buy the treatments for the vast number of medical conditions directly caused by the toxic food in their carts, sold in the aisles just steps away. Remember, the only actual food in the grocery store is on the perimeter. The rest is a carefully curated collection of processed products designed to addict and harm. It's as if an evil genius had crafted this system to profit from both the sickness and the cure. Recognize this for what it is and stop falling for the scam. Your grandma told you all you really need to know about nutrition when she told you that you are what you eat. This is literally 100% true. Every cell in your body replaces itself regularly. While some cells turn over every few days and others take years to replicate, the building blocks for these new cells come directly from the foods we consume. It is an absolute miracle that the tiny little cells in our bodies know how to do this all by themselves. To take the protein from a steak and turn it into muscle, use the fats in an egg to create new cell membranes for the trillions of cells in our bodies, the minerals in a bowl of salad greens to rebuild our bones, and the vitamins in fruits and vegetables to help facilitate the millions of cellular processes that happen each day to power our immune system and to transport the electrical and chemical signals throughout our bodies to keep us moving, healthy, and alive. Take a moment to appreciate the miracles that happen within each and every one of us every day of our lives on this planet. And don't let the greedy, heartless bastards at the big food companies destroy this miracle with their poison, just so their stock can go up a few points and they can buy a bigger yacht. We started this video facing a sad reality that the deck is stacked against us in this game of healthy living. I want to finish with a message of hope that despite the powerful forces profiting from the deterioration of your health and the health of your family, you have the power to set your own course, to determine your own fate. You can choose to opt out of this vicious cycle initiated by the big food companies that manipulate you into buying their poison and then sell you their pharmacological cure. But you must first recognize that up to now, you've been played for a fool, which is a hard reality for most of us to face. But as soon as you can recognize that you've been manipulated into being fat and sick, you can choose to stop being manipulated and reclaim your health and save your family from falling into the trap laid by Philip Morris and RJ Reynolds. If you make that choice, know you're not alone. There are millions of people just like you that are making that choice to live a healthier, more fulfilling life. That is why I started this channel, to help you live longer, live stronger. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider sharing it with someone you know who would also benefit from this message and help me spread the word. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell to learn more ways to upgrade your life and maximize your health span. And I'll see you again in one of these next videos on your screen right now.